Guys, this is absolutely one of the most bizarre places in the entire world.
And therefore, the city is now dying.
This is the haunting story of an abandoned Soviet town frozen in time.
Can you imagine that over like 1,000 people lived here?
Where silence whispers secrets of a world long gone, hidden deep within the Arctic Circle.
There's only a handful of buildings that are still inhabited. Everything else that you see around us.
This place once buzzed with Soviet ambition. Then, one day, everyone vanished. For decades, it was left to rot under layers of snow and mystery. But when explorers finally breached its icy walls, what they found inside stunned the world. This wasn't just decay and cold, it was something untouched, unexplainable, and utterly chilling. A discovery so strange, it sparked fear and fascination in equal measure. So what exactly was found in the ice? Let's dive in. The ghost town in the Arctic. Far beyond the edges of civilization, where temperatures plunge below freezing and the sun vanishes for months, lies the ghostly shell of Pyramiden, an abandoned Soviet mining town on the Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard. Founded by Sweden in 1910 and sold to the Soviet Union in 1927, Pyramiden was once a shining example of Soviet pride and prosperity, built defiantly on one of the harshest landscapes on Earth. At its peak, it housed over 1,000 residents, complete with schools, a hospital, a music hall, a sports complex, and even the world's northernmost statue of Lenin. But in 1998, with no warning, it was abandoned almost overnight. The residents were told to pack their things and leave. No explanations, no goodbyes, and they did. They left furniture, books, plates on tables, even half-filled glasses on shelves, everything frozen in time. It's as if the entire town paused mid-sentence, never to finish its thought. For years, the town sat in eerie silence, sealed by ice and secrecy. Tourists and explorers dared not enter too far, fearing the instability of the structures and the stories of strange phenomena whispered among locals. What could have forced a sudden and complete evacuation? Was it economic collapse, a tragic accident, or something more sinister? In 2012, a team of independent researchers, with permission from local authorities, entered the heart of Pyramiden to document what was left behind. Armed with cameras, thermal sensors, and radiation detectors, they were expecting mold and decay. Instead, they found something that defied explanation, something sealed behind a thick steel door in the town's underground storage facility. The discovery would ignite global headlines and launch endless speculation. What exactly was hidden beneath the ice for over a decade? The mystery was just beginning. Beneath the ice, the sealed chamber. As the research team navigated deeper into the abandoned structures of Pyramiden, they noticed something odd. While most buildings were in decay, one entrance remained untouched by time. It was a reinforced steel door buried behind layers of permafrost in the basement of what was once the town's food storage facility. There were no markings, no signs, no Soviet insignia, just a thick, rust-coated slab of metal bolted shut, as if it was never meant to be opened again. It took nearly 2 full days of cutting through the frozen layers and rusted locks before the door finally gave way. Behind it was a narrow staircase leading down into complete darkness. The temperature dropped sharply. The air was still, stale, but not from rot. It was clean, preserved. When the team's lights flickered on, they were stunned by what lay before them. Inside was a small, sealed room lined with glass cabinets, and inside those cabinets, preserved by sub-zero temperatures, were biological samples. Not animal, not plant, but human. 8 full bodies, wrapped in Soviet uniforms, perfectly preserved as if they had died just yesterday. Each one wore an identification tag, and one was holding a sealed notebook, written in Russian. But the most chilling part wasn't just the condition of the corpses, it was their faces, frozen in expressions of fear, mouths open, eyes wide, as if they had seen something horrifying in their final moments. There were no signs of injury, no struggle, no visible cause of death. Just fear. Panic gripped the team. Had they uncovered a Soviet experiment gone wrong? Why were these people hidden here? And what exactly had they witnessed? The notebook would hold the first clues, but translating it would only deepen the mystery of what Pyramiden was hiding. The notebook and the final message. Back on the mainland, experts in Russian linguistics and Cold War history gathered to study the mysterious notebook found in the frozen chamber. The pages, though brittle with age, were still intact, preserved by decades of cold.
This book is completely full, and all there is just the good stuff. People saying thank you.
At first glance, it appeared to be the journal of a Soviet scientist named Dr. Ivan Raskov, dated between 1987 and 1990. But the deeper they read, the more disturbing it became. Dr. Raskov's notes started routinely, describing geological surveys and research on Arctic permafrost, but by the third entry, the tone shifted. He mentioned a signal detected underground, something that wasn't natural. He wrote of strange tremors that couldn't be explained by tectonic activity. Then, audio anomalies, low-frequency pulses, repeating patterns, almost like language. Further entries grew increasingly erratic. He described vivid hallucinations among his team, a growing sense of unease, and a mysterious object uncovered beneath the mine's lowest shaft, a smooth, black, metallic sphere that emitted warmth despite being buried in ice. He referred to it as the heart. After its discovery, team members began experiencing identical dreams, visions of collapsing cities, frozen wastelands, and something watching them. His final entries became frantic. He wrote that the sphere must never be removed, that it was alive in some way, and that those who stayed near it too long felt their thoughts unravel. The last sentence, scrawled hastily across the page, read, "It knows we've seen it. We must seal this place. If we fail, the cold will not stop it." Scholars were left shaken. Was this Cold War paranoia, or had the Soviets stumbled onto something that couldn't be explained by science? Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. The sealed chamber in Pyramiden wasn't just a tomb, it was a warning, and the world had just opened the door. The sphere that shouldn't exist. Guided by the unsettling details in Dr. Raskov's journal, a second, highly controlled expedition returned to Pyramiden. This time, the team included physicists, geologists, and security experts. Their objective was clear: locate the object Raskov called the heart. They descended into the long-abandoned mine shaft, deeper than any team had gone in decades. Eventually, behind a wall of collapsed rock and permafrost, they found it, embedded in the ice and partially buried beneath layers of frozen sediment. The object matched the journal's description exactly: a smooth, black sphere around 2 feet wide, completely featureless and strangely warm to the touch. As they cleared the surrounding ice, instruments began to malfunction. Compasses spun erratically, cameras glitched, and some team members reported nausea and sudden emotional shifts: anger, confusion, even euphoria. Most disturbing of all, when a technician accidentally brushed the sphere's surface, he collapsed. Though he recovered quickly, he couldn't remember where he was or why he had come. The team extracted the sphere and transported it under armed escort to a classified research facility in Tromsø, Norway. But attempts to analyze it proved futile. The material resisted all scans. It wasn't metal, stone, or any known synthetic. It emitted no radiation, but gave off low-frequency pulses, matching the same intervals recorded by Raskov decades earlier. Theories emerged. Was it a relic of an ancient civilization, an alien artifact, a failed Soviet experiment? No one could say, but one unsettling truth remained. It reacted to human presence, and now it was no longer buried.
Now first, like always, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously with the reach of this video. Thank you.
Whispers of a forgotten experiment. In the wake of the discovery, researchers digging through declassified Soviet archives uncovered chilling fragments of a top-secret initiative, Project Morgenrot. Launched in the late 1980s under the KGB's shadowy Directorate S, the project focused on geophysical anomalies and unexplained phenomena in remote Soviet territories. Pyramiden, as it turns out, wasn't just a mining town. It was a covert research hub. Scattered documents hinted at the existence of something buried deep in the Arctic permafrost. One file referenced a resonance beneath the ice that responds to mental focus. Another ominously warned, subject exhibits awareness. Observation must be minimized. This aligned disturbingly well with Dr. Raskov's journal, the hallucinations, the shared dreams, and the sphere's reaction to presence. It seemed the Soviet team had uncovered something far beyond their understanding. Some documents even described failed attempts to move or study the object.
High above the Arctic Circle, Pyramiden sits frozen in time on the Svalbard archipelago of Norway,
with resulting psychological breakdowns among staff. Why then seal it away and abandon the town? A final memo, scribbled in haste, offered a chilling conclusion. Contact established. Containment is impossible. Evacuation required. Permanently. Scholars now believe Pyramiden was shut down not due to economic collapse, but as a desperate measure to bury what they had awakened. What they discovered wasn't just a scientific anomaly. It was a presence. A force possibly conscious, possibly ancient. Today, Project Morgenrot remains largely classified, but its legacy lives on. What the Soviets tried to hide may now be impossible to contain, and the silence they left behind grows more unsettling with every passing day. Echoes across the globe. After the discovery in Pyramiden, strange phenomena began surfacing in other remote parts of the world. In Alaska, surveyors detected unexplained radio frequencies. In Mongolia's Gobi Desert, researchers reported sudden blackouts of their instruments and disorientation in areas previously considered geologically stable. In Antarctica, satellite scans revealed pulses of heat beneath miles of ice, mirroring the pattern found under Pyramiden. These incidents weren't just coincidences. When analysts compared the data, they noticed an uncanny similarity. All sites emitted a low-frequency hum, matching the signal recorded near the sphere. This hum didn't belong to any natural or man-made source known to science. Ancient texts from multiple civilizations also began drawing new attention. Egyptian scrolls spoke of gifts buried in ice. Sumerian tablets mentioned the watchers beneath, and indigenous legends across continents warned of stones that speak. For centuries, these were dismissed as myths. Now, they're being re-examined with a sense of urgency. Military operations in these regions have quietly increased. Though officially labeled as climate research or geological studies, whistleblowers claim that new objects, similar in shape and behavior to the one in Pyramiden, may have already been found. Some scientists now believe the sphere was never alone. It may be one of many, scattered across the planet like pieces of a puzzle. And the moment one was disturbed, the others began to stir. What started as an isolated Arctic anomaly is now echoing across the globe. The question isn't if more will be found, it's when. The silence before the storm. In the years following the Pyramiden discovery, public interest waned, but behind closed doors, activity surged. Those involved in the initial excavation were either reassigned, silenced, or disappeared from public view altogether. The sphere, now stored in a facility deep beneath Scandinavian rock, remains under 24-hour military surveillance. No further tests are permitted. Every attempt to analyze or interact with it is met with failure or disturbing consequences. But perhaps the most eerie development is the silence. The low hum, once recorded pulsing every 12 minutes, has stopped. Not faded, stopped. As if the sphere, or whatever intelligence might be behind it, has gone quiet or begun listening. Radio operators in northern Canada and parts of Siberia have reported picking up strange, momentary bursts of signal on cold nights, brief flashes of data encoded in frequencies no natural source should produce. Some believe it's random interference. Others think it's a reply. The scientific community remains divided. Some urge caution, advocating for complete isolation of the site. Others believe the object may hold answers to the deepest questions of our existence: who we are, where we come from, and what else might be out there. Yet, as the Arctic snow continues to fall, and the ghost town of Pyramiden remains locked in eternal frost, one thing is certain. Something ancient was found, something unknown. And now that it's been awakened, the world may never return to the way it was before. The silence isn't comfortable, it's anticipation. What comes next? With the world unknowingly standing on the edge of an unseen mystery, the question now is not what was found, but what happens next. Governments deny everything, institutions remain quiet, and official statements label the discovery as natural anomalies exaggerated by rumor. But beneath the surface, a very different story is unfolding. Private aerospace firms, secret defense projects, and elite research institutions have begun launching Arctic-focused missions under the guise of climate research. Insiders claim they're not just studying ice, they're scanning for more spheres. Patterns in old Soviet files, seismic anomalies, and even ancient tribal folklore are being cross-referenced like never before. Meanwhile, in places like Pyramiden, something is changing. Locals report flickering lights in the abandoned buildings. Tourists visiting the area speak of overwhelming dizziness, strange dreams, and inexplicable whispers in the wind. It's as if the town itself is holding its breath. Some believe the spheres are relics of a civilization that came long before us, or something that never truly left. Others warn that we're tampering with forces beyond human understanding. But one chilling idea lingers in the minds of those closest to the truth. What if the sphere wasn't just found? What if it allowed itself to be? We may be standing at the edge of a revelation or a reckoning. The story of Pyramiden is far from over. It began with ice and silence. What comes next may reshape everything we thought we knew about our past and everything we fear about our future. The unanswered questions. Despite all the investigations, theories, and warnings, the mystery of what truly lies beneath Pyramiden and what the sphere represents remains unsolved. For every answer uncovered, more questions emerge. Who built the object, and when? Was it placed there by ancient hands, or did it fall from the sky? Why does it seem to react to human presence? And perhaps most haunting of all, what did Dr. Raskov's team see in those final moments before sealing the chamber? Satellite data now shows increased seismic activity beneath Pyramiden, too subtle for most to notice, but enough to suggest that something beneath the Earth may be stirring. Scientists can't agree on the cause. Some blame shifting permafrost due to climate change. Others, quietly, think the sphere is becoming active. The original journal found in the chamber has since vanished, stolen, according to internal memos. Surveillance footage of the vault was mysteriously wiped. The person responsible hasn't been found. Was it just a breach of protocol, or something darker? A few remaining experts who studied the project before it was classified now speak cautiously, off record. One chilling statement stands out. We didn't discover it. It revealed itself. That means it has intent. Whether the sphere is a message, a memory, or a warning, no one knows. But one thing is clear. The world isn't ready for what's coming next. And as snow continues to fall quietly over that abandoned Soviet town, something waits beneath it, older than history and no longer asleep. A world on the brink. Today, the icy silence over Pyramiden hides more than just the echoes of a forgotten Soviet past. It conceals the first crack in our understanding of reality. Around the globe, intelligence circles and secret committees scramble behind closed doors, trying to decide how much the public should know. For now, the official narrative is controlled But that control is slipping. Whispers leak, footage is smuggled, and the truth grows harder to bury. Some want to harness the sphere, believing it holds the key to limitless energy, advanced knowledge, or even time itself. But others see danger, not opportunity. They warn that disturbing ancient forces rarely ends well. History is full of stories where humanity reached too far. This may be one of them. Pyramiden has become a symbol, not of decay, but of the fragile line between what we know and what lies just beyond our reach. The discovery has already begun to shift how we view consciousness, existence, and the possibility that we are not alone, not just in the universe, but here on Earth, sharing space with something far older and perhaps more intelligent. The final page of this story hasn't been written. It may only be the prologue to something much bigger. And while governments and experts scramble for answers, one thing is certain: the world will never be the same again. What lies beneath the ice may not be waiting. It may be watching, and its silence is growing louder by the day. This mystery buried beneath ice and time reminds us how little we truly understand about the world around us. From a forgotten Soviet town to whispers of ancient technology, the story of Pyramiden challenges the boundaries between myth, science, and something far more mysterious. Whether the sphere is a relic of the past or a signal from beyond, one truth stands unshaken. Some doors, once opened, change everything. And now that the silence has been broken, there may be no going back. The future holds questions no one's ready to answer. But one thing is certain: we're already part of the story.